because that gives me a chance to.
Right.
I try not to lock that door. If somebody really wants to sneak out, they can. But I try to get everybody who's not going to the fellowship hall.
You try not to run anyone over, is that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I read a offering day one time about the spiritual connection of putting something in a different way that is somehow different than doing online or automatic or all that. So I tried every week to do something.
It's hard practice.
It reminds us what we're supporting, why we're supporting it, how we're supporting this community. And I liked that.
I need to think about how often to say that as worthy. But it did kind of take him. This is a tangible approach.
And it's just something spiritual that is in front of sometimes even if it's just something that says yes. Nice program.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am Reverend Katie McQuage-Loukas, and my pronouns are she and hers. We are a multi-faith, multi-religious community. We are ever striving to learn and to grow, and we are always working towards a more just and compassionate world. We believe that everyone matters, that we are deeply connected to one another, and that we are here to care for one another and the world we live in. And so whoever you are, however you have arrived today in body or mind or spirit, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. If it is your first time, if it is your 500th time, you are welcome here. And we are glad that you are here. Let us begin our worship this morning by lighting our chalice.
Mike Wehrman will light our chalice this morning. It's always kind of an adventure to light the chalice these days. The air conditioning likes to blow it out as we're doing it, so we'll see. Hey, that worked, Mike. Maybe we're going to have to make this your regular job. Good morning. I'm Verva Densmore, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. And now, please rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, number 145, As Tranquil Streams Meet and Merge. Seated. Covenant is the silk that joins Unitarian Universalist congregations, communities, and individuals together in a web of interconnection. The practice of promising to walk together is the precious core of our creedless faith. Covenant is both a noun and a verb. It can be a written agreement among individual community members promising to behave in certain ways, and it can mean to engage in the mutual promise with spirit, with other people, and with communities. Please join me now as we say our covenant together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with one another.
We have a responsive reading this morning, and it is in your gray hymnal. It is number 567, To Be of Use. Please join with me on the italicized text. I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along, who stand in the line and haul in their places, who are not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out. The work of the world is common as mud. Blotched, it smears the hands, crumbles to dust. But the thing worth doing well done has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real.
As we begin the school year, we look at children and what children need, and it's many times what we as adults need also. But this is a song for you as children starting school. I know you've been in school for a while. When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly. Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me omnipotence, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me? Comfort me tenderly. Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
I could have been a little more prepared today. Good morning. Our story for all ages today is Hey Wall, a story of art and community. Okay. It's written by Susan Verde, and I would love to invite children and children young of all ages to come and sit in front of me and see and watch the pictures. Yay. You want to scoot up a little bit, Jace? Or are you like having that back to you? Okay. Hey Wall, you are big, a city block big, my city block. Maybe once you were full of style, but no one has taken care of you. You are nothing to look at. You're cold, old, empty. In the fall, James and I skateboard past you as fast as we can on the way home from school. In the winter, the dirty snow piles up in front of you. No one shovels. Danny and her friends on the block build their snowmen on other sidewalks. In the spring, Grandma Addie drinks iced tea on the stoop. She talks of a time when our neighborhood was beautiful, when you were beautiful. In the summer, the ice cream truck rolls by. We chase it to a spot far from you where we let the ice cream melt on our tongues. Each day, we all keep our eyes down. We cheer for the tiny flowers pushing through the cracks in the sidewalk and reaching for the sunlight. But no one looks up at you. There's nothing to cheer for. You are only lonely concrete. Hey, wall, when we are inside with family, friends, and neighbors, there is love, there is joy. Can you smell what's cooking? We are eating together. Can you hear the stories that we share about the way things used to be? We are telling jokes, belly laughing. Can you hear our music? We are salsa dancing. We are hip-hopping. We are dizzy from spinning. We want to take it to the streets, but you don't dance, and you don't laugh, and you don't share your stories. Hey, wall, guess what? I'm ready to change all that. I've got my pencil, I've got my paints, I've got my dreams. I am a writer, a creator, a game changer, and a wall changer. James and Danny brought their sketches. Grandma Addie brought her memories. And we've all brought our ideas and imagination. We give you one last look, and then we begin. I call to my family, my friends, my neighbors, and we stand right in front of you, staring you down. You are our wall now. You've become our blank canvas. Your cracks and bumps and rough edges are our clean slate. Up on ladders and way down low, soon we have filled you with colors, creation, energy. You are stone, but you don't have to be hard. Look at you now. Hey, wall, you are beautiful. And now you tell the real story of us. And together, we are something to see. Hey, wall. Thank you.
Ada will be our key verse aflame today. Please join me in saying the words in the order of worship. We pass this flame, our religious freedom, from generation to generation.
We have come together this morning with any number of things on our minds and on our hearts. And whatever you have brought with you today, you are invited now to bring it up, to bring it here, to light a candle so that we might help you hold it.
If you would like me to bring a candle to you, will you raise your hand and I will do that?
We have lit many candles, holding all the pieces of ourselves we brought today. And some candles are yet unlit, for some things may be too tender to share. And for all those things, and for those who are not with us today, we light one more candle. For all the things we are holding together and separately, let us hold a moment of silence. And now I invite you to join with me in prayer or in the spirit of meditation, however that feels good to you. Spirit of life, moving in us and through us, we are glad to be together today. May that sense of togetherness help us to remember our interconnection when we're caught up in our work and our busyness. May our sense of interconnection help to hold ourselves and others accountable, but gently, remembering that we are human and that even our best work will never be perfect. We pray today for those who work too hard, that they may find rest. We pray today for those in dangerous work, that they might find safety. And we pray for those who strip others of dignity in work, that they might awaken to their interconnection and transform their workplaces. We pray for those who lack work, and we hope they might find security and a stable future. Spirit of love, help us to do our work honorably and to set our work down when it is time to play joyfully. Help us to find the work that belongs to us, our part in the ongoing transformation of the world, and to remember that no matter how large or how small, that work matters, and we matter. And help us to know that no matter what our work might be, whether we have found it or not, we are always worthy of love and dignity. May it be so, and amen. Please stay seated for our meditation hymn, which is number 88 in your gray hymnal, Calm Soul of All Things.
Our reading this morning is called Small Kindnesses by Danusha Lamera. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by, or how strangers say, "Bless you," when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, they're saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and want to say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them, and for them to smile back, for the waitress to call us honey when she sets down that bowl of clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from the tribe and fire, only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say, "Here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first. I like your hat."
"8 hours for work, 8 hours for sleep, and 8 hours for what we will." That was the demand of the 8-hour day movement, also called the 40-hour week movement, because they were not just trying to shorten our workday, but also our work week. And this was a 19th century fight, and at first they weren't fighting for 8 hours. The first victories were for 12, and then 10. And then here and there, places started working their way towards the 8-hour day. They started limiting how much people could work on Sundays, and people started fighting for a real weekend, for time they could claim for themselves. and some industries were much more successful than others. But by the time we were between the world wars, most industrial countries had established limits on working hours. In 1909, the American Federation of Labor established Labor Sunday in September, calling on churches to preach workers' rights. Once upon a time, the Federal Council of Churches sent out annual labor sermons every year to all the member churches. And I think a few decades ago, it might have been difficult to imagine what work was like in the 19th century. 120-hour work weeks were common. And perhaps it is a little easier for us to imagine that now. Most jobs aren't asking us to spend 100 hours a week on our feet doing things with widgets. But most jobs are no longer 8-hour days, and they're no longer 5-hour work weeks either. I don't know how many people in this room are hopping on a computer after the kids are in bed to just send a few more emails and finish that one last thing. And I don't know how many of us in this room are working 6-day weeks or 7-day weeks, maybe not full days, but how many of us are getting an entire day free from the demands of work? This matters because those hours, those minutes, eat away at our rest. It matters when it eats away at our playtime, our social time, the whatever we want it to be time. And I think it also matters because it erodes our capacity for all the other kinds of work we need to do as human beings. The September Labor Day was chosen to kind of get away of the super radical political implications of International Workers' Day in May. And I used to get up in arms about, oh, that's the real Labor Day, but I'm thinking about all those other kinds of work. And I think it's important to think about how our lives are put together. And so that 8 hours for what we will does actually include labor, just not usually the kind of labor that gets us a paycheck. There was a meme that went around recently, I don't have a dream job, I don't dream of labor. And I think that's threading a pretty narrow rhetorical path because most of us don't dream of a job, but we do dream about doing hard things, and our dreams do place demands on us. They don't come without labor. And this, I think, is speaking to meaning making. Does the work we are doing point us towards something that is truly meaningful to us, or is it what we need to do to pay the bills? And most jobs are both, somewhere in between, because a lot of us are lucky to find meaning where we get paid, but not all of us. And even those of us that do get paid to do work that's really meaningful, every second of that job is not necessarily meaningful. And so when we talk about coming home after a long day, and we don't really want to do anything in particular, maybe we just want to sit on the couch and watch TV, there's all these other places of meaning that end up getting shortchanged. And those are the kinds of work that feel like love. I don't have kids of my own, but I'm told that's a lot of work. And I think it's coming from a place of love. And I do know about the kind of work relationships require, from friendships to romantic love. And organizing for the causes we care about, that's work. Building a community, that's work too. When the Enlightenment made its turn towards individualism and a sense that we are distinct beings with our own arcs and our own senses of meaning, the idea arose that we all have a vocation, something we are meant to do in this world. And that word had been used to mean religious work, but Martin Luther and John Calvin and all of those reformers started planting these seeds that maybe everything we're doing is important, meaningful work. We are all called to do something, some kind of faithful work, in a way that's distinct from for each of us. And they would say that we all have our role to play in creation. There's also something to the idea, the Buddhist precept of right livelihood is often talked about as abstention, don't do work that causes harm. But it can also be find the work that makes the world more compassionate. How can my work lead others to enlightenment? And so regardless of age or social status or physical ability, most of us sense something out there that calls to us and only us because it is ours and we belong to it. And I think the trick for all of us is to just figure out what that work is. Howard Thurman asked us to find the thing that makes us come alive, because us being alive is the thing that the world needs. The world needs us to be living and to be engaged and to be in relationship with it. And there's something in us that longs to make that kind of a mark, to be seen and valued in that kind of work, and to know that our time here mattered. And this need to make our mark, it's not hustle culture, it's not working into the night just to keep up, and it's certainly not going to come by working at a job where someone else profits from our labor. And some of us get lucky, and some of us find our day job to be our dream job because it does give meaning to our lives. But I think for a lot of people, the place where we come alive is not the place where we're getting paid. It's other kinds of work. Robert Putnam wrote Bowling Alone 2 decades ago, and the idea was that none of us get together anymore, none of us are doing things, we're not in community. And I don't know how much work it is to manage a bowling league, but I can imagine it's a lot of work to manage a bowling league. And I think that if you're working 12-hour days, you can't do it. And I know that most of us have managed something. Maybe it was a sports league or a fantasy sports league. Maybe we've put together a book club, a game group, a camping trip. All of that is labor. And so when the job starts colonizing more and more of the week, we don't just lose the time we spend camping. We lose the energy it takes to make a group camping trip happen at all. All of this grinding saps from us the ability to not only rest and play and sleep, but the ability to do deeper, meaningful work. And it's especially pernicious when I see it taking over things that were once joyful, trying to monetize hobbies, trying to make us productive in every second of every day. But it's all these pieces of our lives, all these social bits and bobs that give us meaning day to day. And I think everyone in this room knows what kind of work it is. Some of us sit through committee meetings, some of us wash dishes, some of us put together furniture in the youth room, and we know that these things are work and that it takes effort. And I think, too, we wonder if that work is appreciated. Unpaid work gets more attention than it used to. I think we're all a little more mindful of it. And also, sociologists and economists are starting to wonder exactly how much of our economy is propped up by all this unpaid, invisible work happening in the background. People are starting to take a little more seriously questions like who's taking care of the children, who's advocating, who's teaching, who's storytelling, who's cleaning, who's doing all of the things, who's thinking about all of these things to make sure everyone else is doing all of the things. Who keeps track of birthdays? Who makes sure that the office coffee machine does not run out? Who notices that so-and-so hasn't been smiling when they come in? Who's checking on their neighbors? There are so many things that go uncounted, perhaps not unnoticed, but very few people have sat down to tally this up and add it to our gross domestic product. And there are even paid occupations that are mostly invisible: administrative work, maintenance, repair, cleaning. We only really notice these things when they're not happening, when something's dirty or broken or misfiled. When everything's going well, things just keep humming along and the rest of the world is able to do whatever it needs to do without thinking about all those little things. Think about the effort it takes for a coworker to bring you a cupcake on your birthday. That person remembered your birthday. This person knows that you like cupcakes. They might know what your favorite cupcake flavor is, your favorite color for the wrapper for the cupcake, and they had to hold all of this information long enough to get you that cupcake, bring the cupcake to the office, and hand it to you. And somebody in this room right now is saying that's not hard. But some of us maybe struggle to handle some of these small details. I'm lucky to get myself a cupcake on my birthday some years. And so this small thing, this tiny act of handing over a cupcake, carries quite a bit of weight behind it, most of which we don't spend a lot of time thinking about. Maybe it's not a big deal, maybe it's invisible, but we notice its absence. We notice a profound lack when we feel like we don't have a place to belong, a place where someone remembers our birthday and what kind of cupcake that we like. The big gestures, the headline leadership, these things are lovely, but it's the small things that make up our daily living. A proposal is one grand moment, but marriage, we hope, is for a long time. The small things matter. And the small things ask a lot of us. If we're called to vocation and to right livelihood, what we're really talking about is being engaged in active participation in our day-to-day life, in being fully present, in being engaged, in noticing. Our work needs to contribute to the flourishing of life, to join in with that unfolding heart of the universe. And at the same time, our work also has to be grounded in our knowledge that we are part of this interconnected web of life. You and me, everyone we know, every being we know, possibly every single thing we know. And that means that every single thing, every moment that we contribute to life is valuable. And every single thing we do that helps us remember who and what we are is also valuable. And so to turn it, if everything we do arises out of this knowledge of who we are and how we are connected, it reinforces that knowledge for ourselves and for everyone around us. And it is those small things. Being engaged in living means that we've put effort into noticing what's happening around us and to noticing who needs what. And we put effort into meeting those needs. We remember to say thank you. We see the person with just 2 items and tell them to check out in front of us, and we save each other's seats. The physical act of simply saying thank you is not that much work. But noticing, remembering, and committing, that might be a little more work. And so there is the work we have to do and the work we are called to do. And there is work that is visible and exciting and work that is invisible or boring. And there's the work that feels big, like passing legislation or building an entire building. And then there are the little things, like coffee, noticing a spilled grocery bag, and holding the door for someone. The poem Small Kindnesses was actually published in 2019, but I think many of us ran across it a little bit later, after we'd been locked down for a little while, and we hadn't seen other people to call them honey or to say thank you. We hadn't necessarily been waving at our neighbors across the street or making small talk at coffee hour, and I think a lot of us were a little bit stir-crazy. And when we all begin to reemerge at varying times, for varying reasons, and blinking at the world around us again, I, for one, noticed for the first time how tiring all of that is. It actually does take a lot of work to smile and wave and be engaged and put on your social face and go out there. And I hadn't noticed that before because it was just what we did every day. And at the same time, I also noticed what it meant to me to receive those interactions, to feel like I did indeed belong in the world. And I was in school at the time, and I knew that the conversations in the hallway were the thing that I missed, and I wanted them. And when I had them back again, I hadn't understood how much joy there was in those day-to-day small moments. And so having noticed both the effort and the delight I feel much more aware of the invisible work that undergirds our daily life. James Luther Adams called church the place you get to practice what it means to be human. And this might be one of the few places where it's not that weird to be really intense about interconnection. It's actually really normal here, I hope, to smile and make eye contact, ask someone how they're doing, and actually want to hear a lengthy answer. There's not a lot of places where you get to do that all the time. And it's those interactions that end up binding us together into a community, the small things that remind us week after week that we are not alone, that we matter, and that what we do matters. Serving in big, visible leadership roles, these are the foundation stones, but the mortar that holds all of it together is that slow and steady work of recognizing each other. These are the things that make us not just an organization, but a community. It's those small things that are actually doing all the heavy lifting. They are everyday, they are constant, and they remind us that we are whole. They make us feel like we are real human beings when we give them and when we receive them. And all of these small expressions of love are cumulative. They build up over time. And so one maybe isn't going to change the world in a dramatic fashion, but together they're building up something that I think is more subtly transformative. So don't underestimate them. And do not underestimate either the low-grade but constant work and effort that it takes to keep those things happening. Because this is what makes the theory of our interconnection real and embodied. It takes our theoretical value and assertion about how the world works and makes it something we live and experience and act out. And these brief moments of exchange bring to life our entire theory of the universe. And so one of the small things that holds us together is financial contributions. And this is the moment in our service where we share our abundance with one another. And we are a self-sustaining and self-supporting community. It's our money that keeps us going. And so this offering, this moment, is a tangible manifestation of our commitment and our mutual love, renewed every week. May the offering be both given and received in a spirit of generosity and abundance.
That was uplifting. Thank you. Please join me in saying the words to bless this offering. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. We have some announcements. Today is Sunday. Please join us after the service as our religious education ministry team hosts our annual Sunday. Yummy ice cream sundaes will be served by our youth and children. Create your own delicious sundae, banana split, or fudge delight. Make my mouth water. Then enjoy community and fellowship in Cockrell Hall. The next congregational meeting is next Sunday after the service. Agenda items include a treasurer's report, ministry team updates, a report on Article 2. Do I know what that is?
Article 2, or
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, we'll tell you, you'll find out.
I guess we'll find out.
We're giving a
An
report.
update on church safety and board of directors evaluation process. And the service and justice ministry team are conducting a poll to find out what social justice issues matter most to you. Please use the QR code on the slide to take the social justice priorities poll. You can also find the QR code in the order of service insert, and the link will also be published in the weekly briefs and newsletter. The answers from our congregation will be submitted to Texas UU Justice Ministry and will be mixed with other UU congregations statewide to determine how TXUUJM will best act on behalf of our Texas UUs. Your response is requested no later than September 15th, so you have 12 days. And finally, if you're not on our email list, you can sign up on our website and you will receive a weekly news briefs every Tuesday that will include these and many other activities that are happening in our church. Our closing song this morning is number 121, We'll Build a Land. Please stand in body or spirit as we sing together.
I close today with the words of Dorothy Day. People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They can't see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There is too much work to do. And so may you find the work you need to do. May you remember that it is in the small things, the everyday things, and that makes it eminently doable. Go in peace, and blessed be.